Okay, question number 4 coming in from Sahid. Hi there, Sahid. Thanks for the question. So Sahid says, I'm using USwitch to research conveyances, and I'm a bit confused as to what they do when it comes to searches. The list of searches seems to differ quite a bit between the quotes on USwitch. The first option doesn't have drainage and water environment searches, but has chancel search, whilst the second one has the first 2, but not the last one. The estate agent recommended their own guys, but they want £1,000 more than the USwitch people, who are already charging on average $599. And I can't quite figure out what they do differently. A trusted builder friend told me not to use sites like USwitch or the estate agent's recommendation, but to instead look for a local firm who are on my mortgage providers panel. He said the big online companies or the estate agents firms seem to be the ones who have the worst customer service. What would you advise? Well, okay, that's a great question, Sahid. Thank you for sending that one in. A couple of things I want to say on that. Look, in the current market at the moment, and I've addressed similar questions to this in the past, Sahid. So if you haven't seen that, maybe go back and check some of those previous videos. But one of the things I'm going to say is that where you are right now in the marketplace, a lot of solicitors are struggling to keep up with the demand that's being put upon them by buyers trying to buy properties and sellers trying to get sales through quickly. As a consequence, some of their service standards have slipped, which means that they're extending the timeline in terms of getting deals across the line and getting all that paperwork completed in good time. So really what I'm going to suggest, I can't honestly vouch for or recommend, should I say, budget or low fee conveyances anymore, because I think, frankly, it's inviting more problems than it's worth. And that's from having had a look at a number of conveyancing firms, and I've looked behind the scenes. Okay, so I've seen not only how they're winning business, but how they're conducting themselves and how much profitability they're making at the end of every year. And a lot of those figures don't look good. And I'm not saying this to be disparaging towards conveyancing solicitors at all. That's not what I'm saying. But it comes down to simple economics. And when you understand that, it costs a solicitor's practice a certain amount of, manpower and time and energy for them to complete a conveyancing case. And when they're charging budget fees, there's less money in the pot for them to then, get that work processed as quickly as possible. So if you want it done and you want it done quickly, i.e. inside of 6 to 8 weeks, shall we say, you need to pay that little bit more, because I can guarantee you trying to save £1,000 isn't going to be worth it when you're 26 weeks into a conveyance and you still haven't exchanged contracts. And that's not a guarantee, of course. But the point I'm trying to say to you is that I can introduce you to conveyancing firms who will do that within 6 weeks. But they'll charge you for it, accordingly. But the point is, I'd rather pay that little bit of extra money up front, because we're dealing with tens, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds, and in some cases, millions. I'd rather pay that little bit of extra money up front for that peace of mind that the deal's going to get done quickly. And then I can relax knowing that it's all handled. Do you know what I mean? So that's the way I would look at it. Come to me. I'm happy to recommend a couple of people to you. Shop around if you want to online, have a chat with some of these people, but I would ask them, what timescales are they working towards? Because some are pricing themselves out of the market. I heard one recently with a friend of mine. They spoke to a local solicitor, and for a basic conveyance on I think it was like a £250,000 property, the solicitor wanted nearly £4,000 to do the work. Okay. And they weren't promising anything to be done in like 2 weeks. It was still probably about 2 to 3 months to get it done, but they just wanted to price themselves out of the market and not take on the work. So, do they actually want the work in the first place? If so, what timescale are they working towards? And thirdly, ask them whether or not they will take any kind of financial hit if they don't deliver on their promises. And I would say that 90% of solicitors won't do that. Because they'll say that a lot of things are outside of their control, which is true. But, I would want somebody who's in this race with me, okay, who's got a bit of skin in the game and who says, yeah, you know what, this is what I'm promising, this is what I'm going to deliver to you. And if I don't deliver it, I deserve to take a financial hit, okay? And if you can find solicitors like that, then, not only would they be the ones that I would introduce you to, because those are the people that we want to work with, then I would suggest to you that, they'd be the ones that are worth pursuing, because they've got your best interests at heart. If they're prepared to take a financial hit because they haven't done the work in time, then that would suggest to me that they've got, a vested interest in being successful. Okay, so hope that helps, Sahid. Best of luck, obviously, in finding the right solicitor for you. And again, anything that we can do, please get in touch, and be glad to try and help you out as much as we can. All right, thanks for your question. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. End of another webinar. I apologize if I've spoken a bit quickly. I've drunk quite a bit of coffee today to try and keep myself awake whilst we've been doing this different work in different time zones, and all the travel experience we've been doing as well, which has been pretty full on. So as I say, I've got loads going on in the background at the moment. I'm super excited to bring all of this to you, because I think we're going to shake up the market quite a bit. We're going to ruffle a few feathers as we're going along. So that's always pretty exciting. But I think the way things are going at the moment in the economy, and interestingly, the sort of in-laws are asking me this question: what's happening in the economy in England? What's happening with Rishi and all the rest of it? And I do see some potentially darker times ahead. I do see a big change in the property market coming. That's just my own view. Not trying to scare anybody here. I understand that there's a lot of different opinions out there at the moment with interest rates and what's happening with mortgage prices and all the rest of it. But from my side, I still think there's a lot of problems that weren't worked out from 2008. And what has happened over the course of the last sort of 14 years is that they've inflated the asset values on their bank books to try and get themselves out of a big nasty hole. But I'm still convinced that a lot of problems haven't been dealt with, which will probably start to come to light over the course of the next 12 months. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting ride. But I definitely think now, well, actually 6 months ago was the time, but now is definitely the time for any estate agents or solicitors or surveyors or letting agents or anybody who's involved in the property market. Now is the time to really start to change your game as far as how you go about marketing and selling your services, and how you go about marketing and disposing of properties for clients, because the changes that are coming, I think it's going to reward those who play the longer term game. Okay, so the whole listed on the internet portals and sell it or let it quickly is going to change drastically to it could potentially take 6 months to sell a property. And what do you do in that period of time? How do you then keep your business, the doors to your business open when you've had 18 months of delayed fees coming through your pipeline because of delayed transaction times and all the rest of it? It's playing the long game now, which is going to win. And it's only those that are embracing a lot of the things that I talk about in Estate Agent Secrets that are going to win the agency game in the future and the professional services game in the future for property professionals. So there's a lot going on, a lot of which we're trying to solve a lot of those problems for people. So it's going to be very encouraging to work with a lot of you guys in the future going forward. I'd encourage you to reach out to me if you're interested in getting ahead of the pack, because there will be a tsunami when everything starts to be released. There will be a tsunami of people coming in and saying, we need to work with you. And then it'll be too late, because can't work with everybody. We can only work with a limited number of people or a limited number of businesses to give them the level of standard of service that we want to. So I will encourage you to reach out to me before then. But certainly from our side, any members of the public who are watching this, anybody who's got any property questions at all, whatever they're related to, please send them in to us. You can send those in to our website, which is wiggywam.co.uk. Or you can send them via our email address, which is happytohelp@wiggywam.co.uk. That's happytohelp@wiggywam.co.uk. Or you can reach out to us on Twitter, which is @wiggywam_UK. Okay, and we'd be delighted to take all of your questions. We'd be delighted to deal with them. I'm going to be around here in India for the next week as well. And it's a bit touch and go as to whether or not we'll be back from our travels in time for next Wednesday's webinar. So I'll keep you guys posted as to whether or not that's going to go ahead or not. I'm hoping it will be, and it'll be after we've had what I think will be an enlightening experience at the top of a mountain, which will be pretty awesome. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, let's see how we get on. And if I can make it, great, we'll do another webinar next week. If I can't, we'll bump it to the Thursday and we'll run it then as well. So great to spend some time with you guys. Thank you so much indeed for tuning in. As always, as I say, any questions that you've got, send those in via the usual channels. And I'll look forward to seeing you all very soon on another episode. All right, you take care, guys. Thanks for joining me. Bye.